martini, shaken not stirred.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Houston, we have a problem.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
I'm your number one fan.
And here we go.
Welcome to another edition of the Cine-Men movie podcast. And it was a hot one outside today, Ed.
Yes, it certainly has been. It's been a hot one for the past week or so. I think it cooled down for 2 days, and that's about it.
Thank you for joining us. Happy Monday, moviegoers. Thank you for joining me, Juan, here with the Cine-Men movie podcast. I'm joined, as always, here with Ed.
Yes, sir.
And missing Zach today. Zach is a little under the weather, but he will see us next Monday for the Good Time episode, which is the giveaway show for the It Chapter 2 movie tickets. Next Monday night, you can win It Chapter 2 movie tickets. You can be the 10th caller and answer the small little quiz, or the caller number 10, you get to answer the question, and
see if your movie knowledge is good enough for a pair of tickets.
Yeah, and you walk away with not only 2 tickets to Friday night, September the 6th for It Chapter 2, but you also get a $10 Fuzzy's gift card for your local here in Bricktown in Oklahoma City.
So what we've got to say, for all you parents out there who plan on calling in, make a date, an arrangement, we should say.
But unfortunately, we do have some new listeners in Germany.
Right.
So unfortunately, if you're listening to this in Germany, I don't think that you can qualify. But go ahead and try. And even if you do win, which I want to thank everybody. First off, not only for calling in, but for everybody overseas and out there listening to 2 run-of-the-mill random Oklahoma guys talking about movies. I want to say thank you guys, because you don't get a lot of the credit that you deserve, whether you're listening to this, however you're listening to it. But when I saw that we had 2 new listeners in Germany, I'm like, man, if you call my number, I know that'd be an expensive phone call, maybe from me or you. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to ignore it.
No.
I'm going to answer it, and if you call in and if you win, I'll ship your stuff over there.
Yeah, pretty much.
So all the stuff besides the movie tickets the grand prize is local only. But if you win
any of the other
stuff, I'll mail it to you.
Easy.
So
I guess we're trying to say Dankeschön. I think that's how you say it.
Thank you, Ed, for that knowledge. But today we are talking. Today's episode 50, by the way, and we are talking about 8th Grade from 2018, the directorial debut of Bo Burnham, and this is a movie that I've been talking about literally since I started the podcast. Yeah. It was on one of my recent watches almost a year ago.
Yep.
And it turned into an episode. So I'm a little disappointed that I can't conversate the movie with you and Zach, but I'll get Zach's take on it next week. But a little old school throwback to just me and Ed here talking about movies.
It's been a few months.
But next week, the giveaway, Monday, 4:30. You can leave me, send us an email at Cine-Men, that's CINEMEN 921 at gmail.com, and then the phone number to do the call-in is on the Facebook page, 405-590-5711. You can also find us, like I said, on Facebook at facebook.com/movie reels, REELZ 405, or now you can just Facebook search Cine-Men Movie Podcast. Pop right up. Instagram is one word, Cine-Men Movie Podcast. You can find us on the Twitter at Cine-Men405. The Snapchat as well is Cine-Men18. And then, Ed, how do they get to the YouTube page?
Pretty easy, pretty quick. Just go to that Facebook search, basically, facebook.com/movie reels 405. Put in that little learn more button. Click that for me. That'll transport you to that YouTube channel, and that will make you basically open and available to all of our stuff. Like, subscribe, comment, push that little notification bell so you're actually notified any and every time we drop an episode. Because I'm personally notified. So,
I know a lot of other people that are as well. Also, we have our bonus episode that just dropped up exclusively on Anchor, and that is all about Pet Sematary 2019. Me and Ed, starting to get the engines running as far as horror movies go for the month of September and October. I'm not quite done yet with the month of October, but the month of September so far,
I think it's strong.
Is really, really strong. We have movies like, we're going to talk Hereditary. We're going to talk The Exorcist. We're going to talk...
which is kind of funny because...
Silence of the Lambs.
It's kind of funny that you mentioned those two at first, because apparently they've been... some of the reviews says that Hereditary is the new... this generation's Exorcist, and will be basically turning heads severely. So...
And then It Chapter 2 is what we kick it off with. And just...
so ready.
2 weeks... No, 3 weeks. 3 weeks from today is going to be the It Chapter 2 episode, the 1-year anniversary episode. But like we said, Anchor is now a proud sponsor, and we are on the Anchor network, the podcast network. You can create your own podcast through Anchor. It's the easiest way to make a podcast. Anchor gives you everything you need in one place for free, which you can use right away from your phone, computer. Creation tools allow you to record, edit, and upload your podcast so it sounds great and it sounds professional. They'll distribute your podcast for you. All you have to do is create your podcast so it can be heard everywhere. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Tuner, Stitcher, and many more. You can easily make money from your podcast as well with no minimum listenership. Download the Anchor app now or go to anchor.fm to get started today. So, Ed, now that we can get back to the show, we have Pet Sematary 2019 is on Anchor. Yes. So now all of our bonus episodes is going to be exclusive to Anchor. But don't worry, you can still hear all of our other episodes on Podbean, Spotify, YouTube, and Anchor as well.
Yep.
So,
tons of platforms out there for any variety you choose. So, variety is the spice of life, as they say.
So let's go into some recent watches over the past few weeks.
Or
actually, I mean, we just recorded last week. Last week's episode was Jaws, by the way.
Yep.
Which I want to say thank you to everybody. Almost 300 downloads for Jaws on Spotify and Podbean. And that's actually the 295 is just Spotify. So I would like to thank everybody to make us continue to put smiles on our faces.
Definitely.
That makes it easier for me to do to watch movies. But yeah, you have anything recent you've watched in the last 6 days?
Actually, what's funny, 2 days after we did the Jaws episode, I watched Jaws 3. My wife happened to be watching it and joined her. She says that is her favorite, and she knows that people are going to call her an idiot or crazy or a psychopath.
What did you think about it?
I think it's cheesy. You could tell how much they tried to do green screen work on that, especially with like going through the tunnels. But I mean, other than that, like the main thing that I think kills the rest of them is kind of the thing that killed the first, but made it so much better because the animatronic shark wasn't able to work so much that they had to cut several different things down and not show the shark for a while. To which I think in the other three, they showed the shark too much, and it kind of took away from, because you get scared by what you don't know,
Right.
you know. So I mean, with
Like we said,
Jason,
yeah,
you know,
right.
Friday the 13th one, you didn't know who the shit was the killer. So once it was revealed that it was Miss Voorhees, it was like, oh shit. And then they flipped the whole script again. Number 2 goes ahead, and it's Jason back. Like, what the shit just happened?
So like I think they. I mean, I haven't seen 2 or 3. I just know I've heard that they're bad, but the way the first Jaws is almost like the first 90 minutes is almost like a horror movie, you know. Then the last 20 minutes is completely different. We talked about it last week. Like you said, you don't know what you don't see. So.
Right, and you don't know truly what you're getting into, and
Plus,
it instills the fear.
I think Spielberg not being at the helm probably didn't help any.
That too, yeah.
And then they probably did just try to redo. They probably tried to be better than the first.
Yeah.
And there's no way.
They lacked severely, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, creativity
Right.
springs better eventually.
I think
So,
that's what some of
kudos.
these shark movies that come out later make them a little bit more successful, like The Shallows or Deep Blue
47
Sea.
meters down, the first one was really, it had you on the edge of your seat, and it had your anxiety up. It really does.
Or even The Meg, because they don't try to be Jaws.
Well, not only that, but I mean, you know, if you've seen The Meg, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, but you know, they you know, think that you've got one, and no, that's actually the little boy or the little girl or whatever. Here's the actual one, you know, kind of deal. But yeah, I've seen that, and I took a blast to the past of my childhood, at least. Been into cars my whole life, and some of that has even led into like dirt bikes, motorcycles, and stuff. So I remembered an old movie called Moto Crossed, and it's an old Disney flick from 2001.
Oh, nice.
What happens in this, basically, it's about a motorcycle or motocross racing family, and basically they are looking for a sponsorship, and they've got 3 kids, 2 that are twins, a male and a female, and then a little boy. And the little boy has to be like 10. The older twins are like 16, somewhere in there. And the dad doesn't want the daughter racing, doesn't want her hurt, and all that kind of, you know, jazz. And the boy, he's pushing so hard, he wants that sponsorship, and you've got to be the best you can, because those racers won't give you any slack. So you got to be better.
You said it was a Disney Channel original movie. What'd you check it out on?
YouTube, actually.
YouTube, nice.
I just ran across it because I thought about it and just ran across it randomly, and I was like, all right, screw it. And I mean, the screen was kind of cruddy because it cropped the movie a little bit. But it wasn't too bad, and it was just like, man, it's...
Are there ads, or is it sometimes
No,
you can
it was
just
straight up.
You can just come across free movies on YouTube?
Sometimes, yeah, and I mean, I don't know if it's been taken down or something like that, but yeah, it was just... And I mean, it's an hour 15, so not much of your time at all.
Did you get
really.
to finish Letterkenny?
Oh, yeah, I did finish Letterkenny.
How did... Now, is it the series finale?
Finished.
Okay.
No.
You just all caught up now.
Yes, it's on season 6, episode 7, if I'm not mistaken.
And then does it release every week on Hulu?
Well, no. It actually released the first, if I'm not mistaken, 3 seasons back in 2017 or 2016.
But like season it's on now,
yeah,
is that on is it on a network or is it on Hulu?
Hulu itself, and it's exclusively on Hulu.
So when do they release episodes? Weekly?
No. They kind of make a multitude of episodes and then release it.
Oh, okay, nice.
So they released 2 different times. One back in 2016, one later last year of 2018, I think. And they're actually set to release in October of this year.
Cool. So you'll be waiting
to 2 seasons or so. So yeah, it actually left us on kind of a cliffhanger because the main character is doing a big life event, and you're not sure. In the last episode, nothing basically is mentioned about it, so you're not sure if he gone through with it, or if he backed off, or if it got rejected. So, you know, it's kind of like, damn. But it's if you like comedy, slapstick, stupid, kind of like a quick wit comedy, I guarantee you Jared Kiso is going to be a name in your future. Dude is hilarious. The entire cast is awesome.
You got to check anything else out, or just those 2?
Basically, just after that, went with 8th grade today.
Talk about 8th grade here in a little bit. I checked out quite a bit last week after the episode. I got some small reviews that I'll give for Detective Pikachu.
Oh man, Can't wait to see that.
I'm not a for everybody out there. I'm not a Pokemon fan.
Right.
Never followed it, but this movie to me is like fun for everybody. I think they develop and tell you about each Pokemon.
Okay.
For obviously it's for the fans.
I mean, yeah.
But they explain it pretty good for if you're like me,
Yeah.
going in blind. You know.
Right.
They explain it really, really well.
So I know you were into different stuff.
Right.
Before I got into Pokemon.
And then I'm sitting here thinking, like, why is Pikachu talking? Like, you know, what? But they explain everything to you.
Yep.
I'd give it a 7. I think it's
Not
pretty
bad.
solid film. It's funny, and it's obviously nothing but CGI, but it's really, really done well.
And I thought Justin Smith, I think his last name is?
Justice Smith.
Justice Smith.
That's the kid that you're talking about that you think could be a good Miles Morales.
Yeah.
He's
like, just the look of him. Just
to me,
you know.
this is the wrong movie. I mean, he's good in it, but this is the wrong movie to get some good acting chops out of him.
Right.
There's some different movies out there that I'll try to mention off right quick. That
I mean,
tremendous. Like right offhand, like you're right. Like he's
like at least the look, just like profile.
Yeah,
look,
yeah.
just
He's spot on. I even think he's
like better than what they used him for.
Right. But
Okay.
I still think that he is he could be Miles Morales like today, but some of the movies that I think he's really, really good in is Paper Towns. He's in Paper Towns.
Oh wow, that's right. Okay, I actually really liked that one too.
It's a really good flick. I think
it kind of crashes and burns you at the end of it, but yeah, pretty good movie.
That's where I first saw him at was Paper Towns.
Okay, and now that probably is the same with me.
And then he's in a movie called All the Bright Places, which comes out later this year. The trailer looked phenomenal. And then he's in Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom.
Yes.
But I actually like his role in Detective Pikachu more than Jurassic World.
Yeah, he was the screaming guy. If you don't really know who his character was, he was screaming a lot.
But
so.
I'd give Detective Pikachu a 7. And then going on, so I really enjoyed Detective Pikachu. I think it was a good watch. And then I watched Batman Hush, the animated movie.
Yeah.
And that was probably the best DC animated movie I've seen since The Killing Joke.
Okay.
I thought it was really, really well done. And then I finished my Indiana Jones series. I don't know why I got on the Indiana Jones kick. And I finished The Last Crusade and from '89, and then Kingdom of the Crystal Skull from '08, the one with Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
Have you seen that one?
No,
It got really like shit on back in the day,
Yeah.
and I think it was fine. Like,
just do it.
It's a fun Indiana Jones movie. Like, they want to say that it's not realistic, but it's Indiana Jones, and I'm like,
come on.
but it's fun. And then I checked out 8th Grade. For today's episode, and then I checked out Stanley Kubrick's Doctor Strangelove, and
Is it strange?
it's funny. It's a classic Kubrick at his best.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna get to what everybody called probably one of the worst movies of the year, and that's The Curse
of La Llorona.
La Llorona. And you know what? It wasn't as bad as everybody thinks. I sat down and I was like, all right, this is going to be bad. I think this is going to be bad. Because that's all I've heard was negative reviews about it.
Yeah.
But you know what? It wasn't bad. There was some cheesy acting in it, yeah. But at the end of the day, it's a horror movie, which, I mean, I don't know about... I guess nowadays some horror has, like, probably spoiled a lot of people with good cast and, you know. But, I mean, it is what it is, but I really... thought it was a decent horror movie. It's not one that I would like give 10 stars. I think I gave it a 6. But
not bad. Not bad.
But one that was bad that I forgot.
Uh-oh.
Wrong Turn from 2003.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen that one?
No.
It's kind of like The Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah.
That was bad.
Is that the one? I think it's Last House on the Left that has Jennifer Lawrence in like one of her first roles.
No,
Is that it? Or
it was one of her first roles after the Hunger Games.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, gotcha.
But that's not Last House on the Left. It's called something else.
Okay.
It's got house in it though.
Yeah.
But no, this one is like just a bunch of people randomly meet each other down the wrong turn.
Yeah.
And in a wrong road, and of course it's mutants like hack people up and try to eat them, and
Oh yeah.
I didn't enjoy it. I can't. They made 5 of them.
Oh my god.
Yeah. But then one that I really want to spend some time on and talking about is Demolition with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
And with you being a big Jake Gyllenhaal fan,
Yep.
like I give you some homework this week.
Uh-oh.
And I think you should check it out. To me, it was one of his better performances in a long time. It's from the director who did Dallas Buyers Club
Yeah.
with Matthew McConaughey and Jared Leto.
Yeah.
So I really recommend the Demolition. If you're a Jake Gyllenhaal fan, I think you should check it out. It's good.
Okay.
So
And I think that was House at the End of the Street. Is
there you
what
go.
That was.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah. But yeah, I gotta say, like, it was kind of funny because I kept thinking about the motocross, the old Disney movie, and I mean, it's just that was at the time. You kind of seen that was at the time of everybody trying to take advantage of like what the Fast and the Furious did at that point in time, because you had Biker Boys, you had motocross, you had a few different ones for that matter, trying to take hold, and not really any of them have stood the test of time other than the Fast and the Furious franchise. And I mean, I know I give it a lot of grief, but I still like it. I just think like it's too different than what it should have been. But that's only, I still love the movies. I just think they're like not what they should be, I guess.
Have you seen some of the news coming out for Coming to America 2?
Dude, yeah, pretty much the entire cast is coming back.
Yeah,
fuck you.
Arsenio Hall, Eddie Murphy,
I can't wait for that.
James Earl Jones, and then they've added Wesley Snipes.
Yes.
And Tracy Morgan has been added to the cast too.
Oh,
so
okay.
I think it's going to be a fun flick.
It's cool to see Tracy Morgan is getting a lot more in, considering the accident he had like maybe 2 years ago, if that. So, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of a pretty cool thing, adding Wesley Snipes in. I've heard he's pretty happy with the choice of the new Blade, for that matter. But hell, I can't wait to see that, because the first one, back in like 88 or something like that, 89 or something, I think. That one was hilarious as hell.
Yeah. And speaking of hilarious, man, we're going to talk, I think our lists are filled with some comedies, but
yeah,
now we're going to have fun, and every week we dub a top 5, and this week's top 5 is our top 5 school-themed films. And this week we are talking top 5 school-themed films. Ed, you got any honorable mentions?
Unfortunately, I've got like 12.
I'm going to go through just a few rapid fire, and then we can just dig and talk about our top 5. So mine are going to be Can't Hardly Wait from 1998, 16 Candles from 1984, and then I feel like I have to include... It's not in my top 5, but it's one of those that I think you just have to mention. The Breakfast Club.
Yeah, definitely.
And then Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Like, I think those are, like, given.
Fast Times is... Oh, man. That was at a time when comedy had gold. You know what I mean? And, I mean, I think, was it Sean Penn or Sean Penn? Okay, that's what I was thinking,
Spicoli.
Yeah, Spicoli and, the teacher just having their back and forth of, you waste my time, and then at the end he comes in and just rams everything to him. I'm like, dude, that's insane.
You had some honorable mentions. Go ahead and rapid fire through yours.
It's honestly been kind of hard to put these, but I mean, you've got Shazam I mean, it's not set all the way in a school, but it does have quite a bit of school in it. This is pretty much my favorite ones, but I'm considering these a series, so I don't think it's truly fair. But the Harry Potter series, like 7 of them take place almost fully in a damn school. Come on now. I would consider this almost in my top 5, but not quite. 21 and 22 Jump Street, for that matter.
There you go.
You know, high school and college, so kick it, you know. You two motherfuckers, you two sons of bitches is going to college. I love that shit. Now I've got to say, you know, one of the ones that came, and I've got Fast Times at Ridgemont High, A Breakfast Club on my list as well as one of our big, as well as like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I mean, damn, dude. And then one of our coming of generations movies was Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh yeah.
With John Hurd, if I'm not mistaken, or you know, haven't really heard from that guy much, you know, but
he kind of peaked in high school, if you will.
yeah, but I mean, he did an amazing film, and I would go into the sunset happy with that too. I mean,
nice.
You know, I could.
I think he did like Benchwarmers after that. He did
yes,
smaller roles.
Yes, he did. Guy's hilarious, you know, and then
Mr. Woodcock too, I think, or that might have been Sean William Scott.
Possibly, I think.
Yeah.
And then there's one called College with Drake Bell.
Oh yeah.
Kind of just little funny high school kids checking out college, and they have a horrible / hilarious / good turn of a weekend. So,
well,
yeah, called Pre-Fresh or Pre-Fresh. So
I'll start off my number 5 with probably the film that like got me really just nervous, but yet probably excited for high school, and that would probably, and I saw it like really young, probably like 14 or 15. That's American Pie.
Oh man,
like the original
actually,
one.
I saw it younger.
The original one from 1995. Like
yeah,
I thought it was, or 1999.
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Jason Biggs, Sean William Scott. It's funny. It's one of those movies that you sit back and when you think of like movies, high school movies in general, that's what I think of.
Well,
So,
I mean, yeah, definitely.
What do you got at number 5?
Number 5 was kind of hard, but I'm going to go with the movie that introduced us to the South Harmon Institute of Technology and the guys that invented their own damn accredited college. Accepted. Jake Long is in this, and
Jonah Hill.
yeah, Jonah Hill. You know, he wanted you to ask him about his wiener, so it was a little weird. But yeah, you've got that. That to me was hilarious, and I loved it just because it was such a different type of film, I guess you could say, or a different concept. You'd seen a lot of people going to college and partying and all that, but you'd never seen someone invent a fucking college and party. So it was kind of cool just to see that. It kind of reminds me a little bit of what he did for the 22, 21 Jump Street, but, you know. So, you know, I mean, it's just a great movie all around, I feel. So that's my number 5. How about yours?
Number 4 for me is going to be 10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh, yeah.
From 1999 as well, starring the late Heath Ledger,
Yep.
Julia Stiles, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I think it was one of these movies that Gabrielle Union. It was one of these movies that it's a. Not only was it so popular when it came out, but it was just hilarious, and everybody could connect to it when it came out. Unlike American Pie, this movie is still raunchy, but not completely dirty throughout the whole movie, to where everybody can relate to this kind of film.
Yep.
Almost like I Can't Hardly Wait with Julia. What is her name? With Jennifer Love Hewitt from the I Know What You Did Last Summer movies. But yeah, to me, Can't Hardly Wait is one of those movies, just like 10 Things I Hate About You, is hilarious, but I think it's one of those that everybody can kind of relate to. Plus, Heath Ledger's performance is, I'm not saying it's Dark Knight quality, but it's one of those movies where you can see him starting to get his niche, his itch, and he just he's funny in it, as well as Joseph Gordon-Levitt. So,
which honestly, I feel like Joseph Gordon-Levitt is kind of a underappreciated actor, but I don't feel like he does enough to be truly appreciated. You know what I mean? I don't know. I thought he was really good in Looper. Pretty
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's my number 4 is 10 Things I Hate About You from 1999. Ed, what do you got at 4?
Number 4, I'm actually going to have to take one off your list and go with the classic American Pie. I seen this one when I was about 10, maybe 11. Dad wasn't home. I had a few hours alone, so I was interested, and I was like, what the hell is this? You know, I've been told I can't watch it, so I'm going to watch it. I popped it in the VCR player, and off my ride was to depravity. Gotta say, I laughed hard as I could. I didn't understand half of what I was hearing, but I thought it was the funniest shit ever. And, you know, years later, learn everything of what happened and what they're talking about and all this, and what's even going on for that matter. And the little jokes and the little quips and lines that you hear later on that you were like, holy shit, I watched this as a kid. Oh my god. You know, what was just, oh man, it was just hilarious. But yeah, I'm gonna say American Pie is my number 4, man. It's crazy.
Number 3 for me is gonna be a film directed by Mark Waters and with a screenplay by Tina Fey, and that's Mean Girls.
Oh yeah.
From 2004, man. I rewatched this earlier this year.
Lindsay Lohan,
Rachel
stage.
McAdams,
Oof.
Tina Fey, Tim Meadows,
Holy shit, that is Rachel McAdams.
Amy
Wow.
Poehler. It's one of those movies that is just, again, you talk about actually, and this movie came out right when we were getting ready to go to high school.
Yeah, it did.
This is one of those movies that is almost like 8th grade, but a different generation almost.
Yeah.
It's a coming of age movie about a girl trying to fit in.
Well, not only that, but it's a coming age movie of a girl that's way too popular getting humbled too. So I mean, you know, it's kind of like what is that?
And then they tell you have your groups. You know, you have your plastics, your jocks. So I mean, I thought it was a little cheesy at times, but I enjoyed it. And I got Mean Girls at number 3.
It kind of reminds me of John Tucker Must Die. You know what I mean?
It.
Well, they kind of teach someone who's highly popular and extreme ego a lesson in how to humble themselves, but it kind of ends up backfiring in a way. So,
like this one did.
Yeah.
Ed, what do you got at 3?
Number 3 is a classic, and I'm talking a 80s classic. Actually, I think no. I'm sorry, a 70s classic, if I'm not mistaken. 78, I think. It invented us, or it taught us the extremely great single word line, toga, you know. So I'm gonna have to go with Animal House. Half of what I heard on this movie was that, you know, Belushi was down on his luck when he made this, and that it was kind of a fuck it, I guess I can't go any worse, and it ended up paying off big time, I feel, as kind of a classic comedy hit, you know, kind of a cult comedy hit for that matter. I don't remember exactly what age I was when I first saw it. I know I was mid-teens, and I just thought it was hilarious as hell. It drags a little bit here and there while they're telling the story, but other than that, you can't go wrong with it. It's an amazing ride. So, yeah.
Nice. So you have National Lampoon's Animal House.
Yeah, loved it.
When you said 70s, I almost thought you were going to go American Graffiti.
I haven't really seen that much to truly count, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't want to, yeah. I try and at least do something I do know for that matter, and I can talk a little bit about, so, yeah.
Number 2 for me is going to be a movie that is just... It's a classic in its own right, but it's one of those that you have to really just kind of understand, but I think it's meant for everybody to enjoy, and that's Rushmore from 1998.
Oh, okay.
Starring Jason Schwartzman, Bill Murray, Olivia Williams, directed by Wes Anderson. To me, Rushmore is just a simple comedy that explains, you know, a prep school kid falling in love with his teacher. I enjoyed it. I thought it was amazing. I still think it's one of the best comedies I've seen in my entire life. It's probably in my top 5 comedy films of all time, if I could do one of those lists. But number 2 for me is Rushmore. Ed, what do you got at number 2?
Number 2 is a film that kind of brought a lot of things with me as far as comedy goes, and that I've loved for years. It got some starts for a few different great actors now, but Jonah Hill, freaking, it's just helped out quite a few different people. So, Superbad from 05, if I'm not mistaken, 05, 06, one of the two. You've got that. So it's that's a movie that literally changed and kind of defined our high school experience. Just because, things were getting to where they were a little bit more depraved in, I'm going to call it an interesting way. Because it wasn't just humor that you could use as sexual humor or anything like that. It was humor you could use as back burner humor in a way. You didn't have to be fully abrupt and honest with all of your different thoughts. So, to me, Superbad is probably our generation's high school, at least, best comedy to me. Because, who in the fuck doesn't know who McLovin is? Who the fuck was he thinking he was? Seal? Shit. But yeah, when you hear the word McLovin, you know automatically what freaking movie you're going. Helped with Emma Stone get her placement going, and she's glided up to, if I'm not mistaken, she did win Best Supporting Actress.
No, she
was
won
nominated.
Best Actress.
Or Best Actress. Wow, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Best Actress. Not too shabby. So, I think with this movie being one of her first few true movies, I think that was badass. So.
Yeah, and that leads into my number 1. I have a tie, but since you let off Emma Stone, my number 1 is going to be her huge breakout role from 2010, and that's Easy A. This movie to me is, like, when I think of movies from my generation, that when I think of, like, school movies, I think of Easy A.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it came out like right around the graduation year, and it's just one of those that's just like, in 15, 20 years, I can show this to my daughter and be like, hey, this is good. Compare if I I don't know if I'd want to show her American Pie.
Right.
But to me, Easy A was really good. Emma Stone, Amanda Bynes, Thomas Hayden Church, Lisa Kudrow, Malcolm McDowell. Great cast, great director.
If I'm not mistaken, that's one of Amanda's last movies.
Yeah, she hasn't done too many movies since then. But that's my number 1, and it's like I said, it's a tie. And then I just have to say this. I'm only going to say the tie. I love it because it's me. But it was too good to not have under 1. But it's also too good for me not to mention in my honorable mentions. Yeah. And that's just Adam Sandler's Billy Madison. That's all I have to say about that.
Okay, so we kind of...
When he sings Back to School...
Oh my God.
It's great for me, so... Ed, what do you got at number 1?
I've actually done the same thing. I've got a tie, because these are two movies that are very different, but have extremely deep meanings, or at least a good story, for that matter, on both sides. 1B, I'm going to have to go with probably my favorite musical of all time is Grease. I don't think, personally, this is personal, so critique, criticize, whatever, this is my personal, IMO. I think Grease is about the best musical there is. I don't think, as in movie-wise, you get any better. I think Into the Woods, I think was great. had Johnny Depp and Meryl Streep and a few other people like that who was telling different, like, Grimm's Brothers tales. Basically, to me, this is one of the best of all time. When I was a kid, my mother's name was Sandra, so I literally thought that was her until, grew up a little bit and realized a lot. So, like I said, I was like 5, so take it easy. So that leads me to 1A. And this will probably surprise you, actually, that I even know about this movie. Stand and Deliver from 1988. That's just a powerful movie, man. I mean, it's kind of like a Dead Poets Society in a way, in a way. The ride you're taking on is amazing. And if you haven't seen that movie, I definitely... right off the head... it is Edward James Olmos, something like that. Will Gote, Lou Diamond Phillips.
Oh yeah, nice.
Vanessa Marquez and Andy Garcia. So I mean, there's a few different people that have had great careers. Pretty much about high school, an LA high school teacher being hassled by tough students. Pretty much pressured by his boss and different people to go ahead and control the classroom. But he tries to... Oh, I forget the one where it... Oh, shit. Because it spawned another movie in, like, the early 2000s, late...
Dangerous Minds?
No, not Dangerous
Michelle
Minds.
Pfeiffer?
Where she came in, had a hardcore... Oh, shit. Had a hardcore class, and most of them were gang members. Or
Dangerous Minds with Michelle Pfeiffer from the 90s.
Oh, okay. Shit. Well, But this one, yeah, basically they had to actually ace a calculus test. So, not an easy task for kids who probably don't give a shit about even algebra, let alone calculus, trig, or anything like that. So,
it makes you sit back and that's going to be the top 5 this week. But that makes you wonder, like, and sit back, like, there's so many great movies out there that consist of, like, school-like movies.
Yes.
You could have said something. There's movies out there. We could have mentioned stuff like Remember the Titans, Friday Night Lights.
Rudy.
The Faculty.
We're both big. Yeah, we're both big sports guys. So.
But this week, guys, we are talking all things 8th grade, as it is the directorial debut of Bo Burnham. And, man, usually we talk about big box office budgets. But this one wasn't as like it is with others. Had a $2 million budget, made almost $15 million at the box office. Had a Sundance release that made its Sundance debut January 19th. 2018, and then here in the United States everywhere, July 13th, 2018. And then, I talked about it on Recent Watches last year. It had a Blu-ray release of October 2018. So, it's one of those movies that, to me, ever since I watched it, I'm like, this could be one of those movies that is near perfect for me. Believe it or not, Bo Burnham and the crew started a penchant for this movie to show actual 8th graders.
Oh, nice.
That was his goal for this movie. But unfortunately, the people at MPAA, I think, that rate movies, gave it an R rating.
Oh,
so,
yeah, because of the language.
Plus, when you kind of when you mention preteen and sex, I don't know, you may not want to show this to just anybody.
Almost cross the border.
So they gave it an R rating. But he still got to show some 8th graders this movie with a pension or a petition for parents to sign and stuff. But man, it's like I said, starring Elsie Fisher. Bo Burnham with his directorial debut. Right offhand, Ed, what did you think about this movie? This was your first time watching it.
I had a roller coaster of emotions with this movie. Times I loved it, times I hated it, times I felt so bad, times I felt great. It was just, like I said, a roller coaster of emotions. And I've kind of followed this kid's career. Bo Burnham, well, he's not really a kid. I followed this man's career, Bo Burnham, and it's crazy to see what he's came from, singing comedic, slightly offensive songs on his YouTube channel in his mom's attic or something like that, or basement, one of the two, and all to kind of like even what she did in the movie, for that matter, to go in.
No, that's exactly what she did. That's where he get,
movie.
That's where he got his
inspiration.
Inspiration for writing the script was everything he went through. Doing his comedy sketches and his YouTube stuff.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, the guy's brilliant. He is a brilliant. So I mean, a brilliant guy. So I mean, I knew that he had talent in him, definitely, and he was a smart man. But I didn't know he had something like this. It's kind of like the John Krasinski, or even with Jordan Peele. Branching out so much different. I'm not saying those three are on the same exact level as each other, but it's just so weird to see three comedic actors in different genres, for that matter, of comedy, coming to serious, very serious, or even a horror flick, for that matter. It's really amazing and bright, and shows that just because you're funny or a comedian don't mean you're an idiot or just a joke.
So I'm glad you first thoughts off, I'm glad you liked it. First off, but yeah, with a cast of Elsie Fisher as Kayla Day, Josh Hamilton as Mark Day, Emily Robinson as Olivia, Jake Ryan plays Gabe. It's about an introverted teenage girl who tries to survive the last week of her devastating 8th grade year before leaving to start high school. Written and directed by Bo Burnham. So, man, I want to talk to you about how this movie is, first off, it's one of those coming-of-age movies.
Yeah.
When the movie starts off, you see her start off with her YouTube channel, and then it quickly goes into the dinner scene with her dad.
Yeah.
And obviously he's like a single parent, he's a single dad raising a teenage girl. That right there already sounds terrifying.
Yeah.
But he struggles throughout the whole movie, man, to like get that relationship with his daughter.
And I mean, honestly, I kind of felt a little bad for the guy, because he was trying, and I felt trying very hard. And I mean, as most teenagers do, I know I did, and I'm pretty sure you did every now and then. You push your parents away because you at the time you want to be left alone, and you kind of want to figure things out, and you think you're smart and don't need them, and man, do you prove yourself wrong in the future.
But man, I want to talk right quick about how underrated I think Josh Hamilton is in this movie as the dad. Like,
yeah,
he's like one of the better, I feel like a lot of stuff he does is underappreciated.
Yep.
I mean, you can recognize him in stuff like 13 Reasons Why. He was in Manchester by the Sea. But I think he's, in this movie, he's really just a firm, really, really solid actor in this movie to play the dad.
Yeah. Definitely was, you could understand the emotions he was going through, and he made you feel bad for him, and he made it to where you understood that he was okay with her finding herself, if you will. And I mean, almost as a friendship role, because I mean nowadays are so much different. You can't really truly discipline your child in certain ways that were available or
right,
not.
No,
as
I mean, it's a
looked
completely
upon.
different generation. Yeah. It's that's one thing I want to talk about with this movie is it's completely not our generation, what we got put up with.
Yeah.
You see scenes like the pool party. Then you see that she obviously has this big crush, and every time she sees her crush, like I was talking to you earlier during the movie, he's got his almost own theme song.
Yep.
For when he appears on camera. And then, like, the last week of 8th grade is completely a roller coaster for her.
Yeah.
And what did you think? I want to talk right quick about Elsie Fisher, the actress. What did you think of her and her, like, I think this was one of the most underrated performances of 2018 because she didn't even get, like, an Oscar nomination. And
Really?
I think for her, like, the way she portrayed this character, I think she should have been, like, you know, she should have gotten some kind of award for this. What did you think about the character?
That is crazy. Even the notion, or even, you know, anything for that matter. I thought she done wonderful, especially because, I mean, she can't be over 16, 17 years old. I think
Right.
she's probably 15 or 14 or so. But you can see the awkwardness that she understands the character quite a bit. So obviously she's either gone through some of that or is going through some of that.
Right.
Or,
I mean, she was born in 2013.
so
So
16.
yeah.
Or maybe not even yet. But, yeah, you know, because, I mean, don't get me wrong, even looking from a psychological standpoint, you could see how her shoulders were slumped and she looked down all the time. You know, I guess her mother leaving, she took that and used that as, well, I want to be clear on that, the character's mother leaving, she took that and used that for fuel to kind of play a role that shy, mother left, so feels partially unwanted, different little things like that, and took that to go ahead and play a depressed, probably, extremely confidence
Even the
ridden,
mannerisms
you know,
of her, like, rubbing her arms when
Yes.
she's in awkward situations.
is
or-
comfort filling,
Yeah.
for that matter.
Or
so.
when she's just, you
Or
know, she's
defense.
always looking down pretty much
Yep.
almost. But in her YouTube videos, you would never know that she's this shy, you know,
Not
nervous
really.
girl. In her YouTube videos, she's high and upbeat, and she's
You'd
you
figure
know,
maybe she just doesn't know how to put what she wants to words,
Right,
because
right.
she always
But
is
I-
like, you know, but other than that, yeah.
And then throughout the movie, I do like how she uses her words and motivation in her YouTube videos. She uses them in her everyday life.
And I mean, she gets, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I've been there, done that with this type of personality, you know, confidence issues and feeling like you're pretty much a horrible burden on people. I've been there, done that. You know, at the end of the movie, when she's talking to her dad about, you know, being sad about, you know,
Well, we'll get
all
to the
that.
end. We'll get to the end, but like, it's kind of like not awkward, but like
it was awkward.
You
at
thought it was
points.
awkward?
Well, I mean, especially with like the banana or kissing her hand or anything, it was just a little awkward, you know, because it's just like, okay, no, this is.
That's what
yeah.
I'm saying. Like how Bo Burnham is just so like
But he brought that stuff
brilliant,
you know,
because like he's a few years younger than we are.
yeah,
I think he's like
25
He's
or-
27,
yeah.
and like for him being a male stand-up comedian, he was able to write this screenplay. And let's face it, me or you, we're not 16, 15, 13-year-old girls.
True.
We don't know what it was like.
Maybe he has a sister.
Well, what I'm saying is we don't know what it was like, even in our generation, let alone being a 13-year-old in today's generation.
Very true.
Which I could just imagine it's probably 10 times harder nowadays with social media and everybody's always, you know, style and fashion. And, you know, back in our day, you know, 90s almost, grunge was cool.
Yeah.
To where now, you know, you're a hobo.
Big Jinko jeans and a
but,
freaking
like,
sweater.
But like with today, like I'm glad that when he wrote this script, and you can find some of the special features on the Blu-ray, but when he wrote the script, he was learning more and more on the set directing Elsie Fisher.
Yeah.
As you know, the cast is all her age.
Yeah.
He used actual, you know, teenagers and preteens for this movie.
Which is the smartest thing to do, because I mean, you can't use adult actors and expect
Right.
them to know exactly how it feels to be that, especially at the different time zone.
And I really wish this would have gotten a little bit more, maybe publicity or
Promotion, basically.
promotional, because it's one of those. I really feel like it's a coming of age movie for somebody who's in 8th grade now can go watch this.
Or even early high school,
Yeah.
for that matter. 'Cause,
Yeah,
I mean, she
same
was
thing.
transitioning.
Yeah.
You know, so.
but the way she portrayed the character, and then just the way I don't know, man. It makes me go to. We'll jump forward to the pool scene.
Yeah.
How awkward that was for her.
Yeah, I mean,
And-
don't get me wrong. I explained everything that she done was a lot of what I actually do to this day, for that matter. Because I don't feel comfortable with my shirt off. I'll be honest with that. So that's a self-confidence issue on my personal part. I know that. I'm comfortable with it. I've accepted it. But I mean, I've got to say, Gabe loved the character. Loved that kid, man. He came up and just, wasn't awkward. I don't give a shit. This is me. I'm just trying to talk to you. Hi, kind of guy. And I loved that. I thought that was what was needed. And, well, once he came up, I thought that's what was needed. But, I mean, with his transition or his arc with his character, for
And
that
Gabe
matter,
was
nice.
Gabe was the cousin.
Yes.
Played by Jake Ryan, who is the cousin of the girl's
Kennedy.
birthday. Yeah, Kennedy, who's
Yeah.
played by Catherine Oliver.
Which, she's a bit of a jerk. I mean, kind of a Mean Girls type deal.
And
but,
actually, she got the invitation from the mother. She didn't
Yeah.
get the invitation from Kennedy. So it was already awkward there when, you're not invited to the party, but your
Yeah.
mom, So that right there already put her in a bad spot.
Yeah. And I felt like he was the perfect medium, if you will, to go ahead and connect between both parties, of the popular kids at the party and the weird girl, or at least thinks she's weird girl.
He
at
broke the
party.
ice.
Yes, definitely. Made a warm spot. Pun not intended for swimming in warm spots.
And actually,
yeah.
after the scene that she changes and she starts walking towards the pool, I think right after that scene, you were like, the music in this. You were talking about the soundtrack. You
yeah.
were talking about the score, and it's that's actually what I have written down in my notes is the score, and it's one of those things that is you said it was.
I felt that it was a little weird, just different, kind of an abstract in a way, if you will, because it was just kind of it's got your tension and your anxiety built up or even lowered and all that different stuff, but it's just kind of why are these notes doing that, kind of deal.
Well, the score was by Anna Meredith, and it was one of those. It's a high. It feels to me, and I think this is the way Bo Burnham explained it. Is it's like a high anxiety soundtrack.
Gotcha.
So that way, when she's going through some of her tensions,
You feel the same.
Exactly.
Yep. Gotcha. Okay.
And I think that's brilliant. And
Yeah.
you have a real movie going person. Like when we did it last year during the horror movie episodes. Like sometimes the score is just as important as the movie, if not
very
more.
much so. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, Jaws, if they were just playing, like, the Titanic song when Jaws was attacking, you'd think that's the weirdest, dumbest shit ever.
Or like this movie, 8th Grade. What if they just... I mean, they did play some, music from, popular today's... But what if it was just nothing but, popular music? You still wouldn't feel
Or nothing
that...
but symphony music, for that matter.
Right.
It would have been very odd, and it would have been awkwardly placed to where, you wouldn't feel, in a way, her own character's emotions. And I felt like it was kind of a third person, almost, if you will, to where you followed her around and you felt more like you were her than at the party or by her side or anything like that. You kind of felt like you were in her shoes, for that matter. I think my feet wouldn't fit, but you were in her shoes.
And then you see how she got really confident at the end of the party, and she stepped up and went and did some karaoke.
Yeah, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, takes guts, especially in front of the popular kids or the little Mean Girls clique, for that matter. So, and in front of the boys she had a crush on, and possibly other boys that were popular or jocks or whatever have you. So that takes some guts.
And then, one of the main big plots around this movie is... Right when the movie kicks off, she streams on YouTube.
Yep.
You see that first off, the cinematography in this, how the camera is just always in the right spot.
Yeah.
When she's going on Instagram, when she's going through Twitter, she's obviously really high in on, selfies or making herself look better or just social media in general.
Oh yeah,
And,
'cause, I mean, a lot of these kids are, and I mean, don't get me wrong, you can't really go on someone's social media platform like Instagram or Twitter without seeing a fucking food gram or whatever have you.
right, or you get the sense of what this person is about.
Yeah.
At least a small version of it. But I enjoyed how the camera just is right there behind her, showing you what she's going through, and that's what I'm gonna like try to talk to you about now, even though it was different for us. But social media portrayed in this movie, like, how much different do you? And they talk about it in the scene where they're at the mall. They, how even though he's only the high school group that they're hanging out with. First off,
maybe 3-4 years difference.
Let me go back and kind of explain the scene. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but in the scene I'm talking about, she goes to the high school and she shadows a person that is picked, for her. I don't know how that's done. I don't know. We didn't do this in high school.
No. Probably, assigned.
And this was shot at an actual high school.
Yeah.
So that's another thing I think is just brilliant about the way the whole film is just portrayed. Is, hey, let's put real stuff around her to get her character just blooming.
Which, I mean, Olivia, I've got, at first I thought it was brilliant and all that. Now I've got mixed feelings with Olivia. I kind of got a bone with her.
The high school girl?
Yeah, I got a bone to pick with that girl.
But before we get there,
yeah,
the scene I'm talking about is she meets up with Olivia. Is it Olivia?
Yes, Olivia, and then a couple of her friends, and I think it's Trevor. It's Olivia, Trevor, and I forget the other two. The other girl, and then the other guy.
Riley and Anaya.
Okay, so Olivia, Anaya, Trevor, and Riley. And they're just sitting there at the food court at a mall, having some fun, eating, or about to go eat. And then she joined, Kayla joins
And then
them.
They pretty much just say that she's a different generation, even though she's only 3 or 4 years younger than they are.
Yeah.
But the reason I bring this scene up is generation is what I'm trying to get to here, is that we didn't have any social media in high school. The only thing we had, I think, was MySpace, and that was literally, I think I started my MySpace my junior year of high school, and that's when I think social media started to pick up. Then I don't know if you got yours.
We had ours. No. We had ours around more like freshman year because it was.
Well, remember, I was a grade above you.
Yeah, but MySpace was back in like middle school because I think I was 7th grade, you were 8th grade when we first started getting on MySpace, and then into our high school years, Facebook started taking off. And
See,
all
I never had a Facebook during high school.
My junior year, I think, was when Snapchat became pretty popular because I seen when I was in my theater class, I seen all kinds of kids trading snaps and all that, trading snap codes and different things, and it was a little confusing back then because no one knew how the fuck to use it.
Yeah, see, the only thing I think I used was MySpace, and then I didn't get a Facebook until like maybe 2010.
I think I got my first Facebook in 2009, 2008, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So like your senior year, my junior year, maybe your junior, my sophomore, somewhere around there. But
but now looking back at people today, kids today, man, they have this like literally like at the palm of their hands, 5th, 6th grade,
easily.
like Kayla said in the movie, she got a Snapchat in 5th grade, you know, and man, what do you think it's like going through school like it is today with all this knowledge at the tip of your fingers, and you're just exposed to literally everything.
I think it's got a lot of bad and a lot of good to it because
it's meta.
It is. You've got exposure to all this knowledge and all this freedom to roam and see how to do different things. How to work on your car, how to make a birdhouse, how to
make dinner.
Yeah, easily. And I mean, some weird whatever recipe from India even, or Japan, or whatever have you. You've got so much at our fingertips now, and literally in this 6 to 8 inch little device that has all kinds of stuff on it. But I remember AOL discs back when we were kids, that about 12 years old, 10 years old, me having to teach my dad how to use the internet and all that. So he thought I was a freaking expert, and I'm nowhere near. But
like the thing that shocks me is today, is like in this movie, like everything is literally a click away.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, that's
Like nobody talks on the phone anymore, especially during this
not
movie.
really, no.
Everything is
Well, she did talk to Olivia on the phone,
right.
but that was, I think, once. Other than her dad, that was one person. So, not really much at all. You know, but I mean that is the thing. You know, now because I remember when we were in school, high school that was. You know, they were implementing banning cell phones basically. Like you could have your cell phone on you, but it could not be out. And I remember having mine in my pocket or having my iPod on headphones, just ran through my hoodie listening to music every now and then.
Do you think this is a good movie? We talked about it a little earlier, but do you think this is a good movie for like actual 8th graders and high schoolers to probably, do you think they should show this in some classes?
I think it's a decent thought to go ahead and do that. I do think that because I mean, don't get me wrong, being a grown adult for that matter.
That was one of his ultimate goals, was to have this be shown to 8th, 9th, and probably 10th graders.
I mean, it definitely Miss Fisher goes ahead and shows so many different sides of herself in this, and so many different variants of how normal life for kids go. And apparently, we as kids and they today as kids have stress levels of 1960s psychos.
Yeah.
People that were considered mentally insane. So
they have so much to live up to that, and social media is a big reason of it.
And that's kind of the bad of social media, is that it puts so much pressure on different, people, different kids, different groups, age groups, even cliques, to live to these standards and live.
I have to look like this. I have to upload this today. I have to show what I'm doing this.
I have to have a 6-pack abs or the jawline of this, or I have to have the most beautiful eyes or the best makeup.
I can't tag so and so and show my food selfie because other so and so thought I was at home sleeping.
Right,
stuff like that.
It
causes, I think, lies upon different kinds of
worlds and aspects that shouldn't be there,
right.
Don't need to be there. And a lot of people think that these generations today, as in the millennials and Gen Z and all that, are entitled, for that matter. And it's not really an entitlement thing. It's we grew up this way and we were raised this way by the baby boomers and the Gen X and all that we were introduced to the world this way. Like, that isn't part of the fault of the millennials nor the Gen Z kids, because Gen Z, they don't know a time without technology. They have no idea. Us millennials, and I partly hate to be called that term, but I mean, I was born in 91, so I am a millennial, unfortunately. But, right, honestly, fuck it, whatever. We were born in the transition from low-tech to high-tech stuff, because, I mean, now, you've got Wi-Fi in your car, to where, when we were kids, I was playing with paint on the damn computer.
You have Wi-Fi in your pocket now with the Wi-Fi,
little boosters.
Yeah,
and I mean,
I think Jim Carrey said it best in Cable Guy. In the early 90s, he was like, the future is on its way to where you could be sitting at home playing Mortal Kombat with a kid from Japan. And the tip of his tongue was like, 25 years later, how god awful that statement is true.
Oh, not even 20 years later. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was laggy as hell, but you still could do that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, you can actually physically talk to them now.
Yeah.
Almost like they're just right here like me and you.
Yeah, I mean...
And I know that has really nothing to do with social media, but the way technology grew in those 10 years... completely to where now...
Well, it is social media, because you're still being social, and it is a type of media, to where even
but now you don't even have to get on... you don't even have to get on your Xbox or your PlayStation to interact with your
compadres. But I mean, it's like us right now. We're two, randoms from Oklahoma talking to people in Saudi Arabia, Germany, UK, when neither of us have been out of the country, for that matter. I've never been to Mexico nor Canada nor across the pond to the UK or England or anything like that, or Russia for that matter. So, to be able to branch out so far, thousands and thousands of miles, you know, to random people who we probably will never ever meet in our entire life is a crazy existence and a crazy thing that we're going through right now as we are talking. Literally, my words, right now. But, you know, going back to the subject matter of 8th grade, not getting too far off subject at least, you know, he shows so much different brilliance as in the transition of how she she has her YouTube video, and she's trying to help people like herself going through the hardships of life and being a shy loner in better aspects, I guess you could say, because she was literally one of the superlatives of shy. She the most quiet female, for that matter. Right. She was voted most quiet female superlative. So when you go ahead and have that, I mean, I do remember, you know, the voting for that. We did do that back in middle school, you know, and a friend of mine with the initials RS, and I mean, I know you know him too, was voted class clown, and I mean, everybody knew he was funny like that. Now, he busts his ass in a construction job, you know. He always is about the clean and sober life, so your straight edge life, as they like to call it. So, you know, it's not necessarily that people change, but people go through phases in their life that makes them the person that they are today, or tomorrow, or yesteryear, or in future year. So, I mean, just because she, at the age of 8th grade, when the most pressure is actually put on her, and about to be even more with high school traumas going on.
That's what I would like. Even though he struck gold with this film, but he made you fall in love with his character so much that I would love to see a series and, you know, go into. I would like to see what she's like, you know, in another 4 years or something like that with another film. But
because I mean, hell, he might do that, you know, because she did the little time box to her from her 6th grade self to her 8th grade, and now she's doing one from her 8th grade to her senior self. So I mean, I would love that kind of a sequel, just to catch up with Elsie Fisher here in 2 or 3 years and see how she kind of wraps the character around differently and how much she evolves and changes from the girl blossoming into a young woman, for that matter, going out into the working adults and stuff.
Another thing I wanted to mention to you right quick is, and it's one of the topics on, you know, you can go look at YouTube videos and social media accounts. Parents are trying to get this taken out of schools, and it's the active shooter drill that's in the movie. The drama club in the film helped out by putting some makeup on and doing the bullshit headshots. But actually, in real life, you know, they do these
for the kids'
drills
safety.
now. Right, they do these drills now, and parents are trying to get it taken out of schools, saying that it's a kind of
offensive or abusive.
It's child abuse, saying that, you know, they shouldn't have to put their kids through, even if it is reenactments or, you know, prepping. They shouldn't have to go through anything like that. But I think I'm with you. I think it's done for good, and I think now, should you do this in elementary schools? No. I think, and with her being in 8th grade, they were obviously starting it in middle school with 6th grade. Yeah. I think 6th grade is a good stage to start this.
I mean, you're supposed to be a little more mature, able to handle a bit better.
And unfortunately, this is the world we're living in.
It's a reality.
Yeah.
I mean, they're wrong for just this past couple of weeks, for that matter, in different businesses, let alone schools. But
I think it's good for the kids to go through, and not only for them to go through, but I think police departments should be the one doing this.
Right.
I think the police department should be going to schools and getting more involved. I don't know about here in the city, but I know that there's some schools up north, in the northeast parts of the states, that are really active with going to the schools, explaining, having, you know, videos shown and stuff like that. I think it would be good for police departments to be a little bit more involved in schools.
I do know that actually, as I was heading back home from work, because like you know, I worked a double last night, so got off at 7:30 this morning. So I actually ran into I live over by Del City in Oklahoma, and I ran into Del City High School traffic. The school zones were lit up, so, you know, watch your speed in those, guys. We don't want any kids hurt. kindergarten through high school, of course. But I actually seen both sides, the start and end, and the start and end of either side, for that matter, had a fire department with the fire trucks out, lights going and all. Well, not sirens, but lights going. Actually, at one end, I don't know what was going on, what they were talking about or filming or whatever have you, but they were actually filming. A news crew was filming some of the firefighters. I'm pretty sure the chief or co-chief or whatever have you, because they don't like to leave too much to the understudies, if you will, I guess. But that just goes to show that some are active in the community, and Del City is a small community for that matter. But yeah, I mean, I do remember going through drills like that in our school. They didn't do to that extremity of having someone with a fake weapon or a KFAB weapon go through the school and pretend, bang, okay, you're good, okay, got you, okay, kind of deal. But I think the fact is that he actually had tactical clothing on, as well as a semi-real looking firearm.
Right.
So I think that's what off-puts a lot of people, to where if maybe he did it with a Nerf gun, it would have been a lot different. But I mean, the thing is if a shooting does happen, unfortunately, it's not going to be a nice thing, and oh hey, please just stand it. It's not going to be like that.
It's not going to be a Nerf gun pointed at you.
Right. So I mean, unfortunately, with our reality today, reality is hard. Reality is not nice. It is a dog that will beat the shit out of you.
And I think at first I thought maybe it was pointed out as a joke with the scene in the movie. But when I learned more about it, when I started looking, I was like, why is this in there? This is a real meta heavy movie.
Yeah.
All kinds of metaphors throughout this whole movie. But when I looked into it more and I started digging, I'm like, he's pointing out obvious things that are going on in
the
8th grade.
In society,
so
for that
it's
matter.
not only society, but hey, these are issues that not only our parents have to go through, but so are these 8th graders.
And that's the thing that people get lost, is that when the parents get lost in the fact that they feel like, oh well, you're hurting my baby or whatever have you. But the thing is you never really talk to the kid and ask the kid how they feel, how they actually think about it, what they think. It's just left up to the parents' thought, and I kind of think that's a little wrong to a point. But then again, when you are that young, you don't understand a lot. You think you do, because I remember being that young. You think you understand a hell of a lot, but you don't. You really don't. You get humbled as you grow older. For your experiences wise, at least. Anyways, moving on from that, going into the very next scene with the under the table scene, because they're basically like taking shelter under a table to go ahead and hide from an active shooter in the school.
That's something we have done.
So, yes,
is in our school, in our years of school, we did do the
under the table or to a different side of the classroom, out of view
right.
of the door, because we only had like a small 10-inch or 12-inch tall window by maybe 3 inches wide, so it was a very small viewpoint.
Yeah. So the next scene, she crawls over to her crush, and that's when her, not issues, but her problems that she probably shouldn't be having start going on.
Yeah, the non-innocence problems. Because
she found out that he turned down a girl because she wouldn't send him any more nudes, so he broke up with a chick like that. She's like, oh, if that's all I have to do, I'm going to go talk to him.
And easy peasy.
Yeah.
But,
which, again, that's, even though that's, stuff that a lot of people don't want to deal with or talk about in 8th grade, Bo Burnham wrote it in there.
It makes it awkward.
Right. It's a little awkward. It's talking about, your preteens and, what you should not do. And I think it's brilliant that he wrote that in there for them to act upon that. Because, again, if you're going to show this in 8th grade or to, high schoolers, that's stuff that should not be going on. And if it is, that's some stuff that you should probably be at least if you're going to try to do something like that,
about it.
right? Understand, safe, who to do with, what not to.
Well, I mean, on top of that, boys definitely are different than girls. There's a different, and I mean, I can't speak as a female because I am a male.
Right.
You know, I do know that aspect of it, but I don't know the other side of the coin.
And then you keep
we're depraved little shits.
And then you keep getting scenes where, or you have like scenes like the dad, where he's just put in these bad situations. When he walks in with her with the her kissing her hand and she throws the phone down
and breaks her phone for that matter.
Right, and she's like, "Get out," you know. Or the dinner table scene, she's like, "Leave me alone." Or the banana scene, she throws the banana at him because he's like, "I swore you didn't like bananas," and
she even checks on it because he puts it in his phone and all that.
He gets a banana in his face. And then you have the scene like we were talking about when they were at the mall. You know, there's the mall scene. So he's always in these bad, tough situations.
When he's just trying to
be caring. My first time view, I thought he was going to snap back at her one time.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But he didn't.
Because, I mean, tempers rise. I mean, anger happens.
Right.
You know?
But he didn't, and it led to, you know, which we'll get ready to talk about, which to me was one of my favorite scenes of the movie.
100%.
You know, let's talk about it. Let's talk about that scene where it's, you know, closer to the end. And she, like you said, she had the time capsule from 6th grade to 8th grade.
Yep.
And she tosses it. She buries it, or no, she doesn't bury it. She burns it.
Help her burn it.
So she takes the box with all that stuff in there, and she lights it afire. And that's when he just, you know, she explains and she asks that if she had a daughter like her, how could I love her? And he
she says I could love her, of course, because I'd be her mother. But how could I not be anything but sad?
Right.
You
there
know,
you go.
and I mean.
My bad.
No, it's
and he just like opens up with
that would break me for a point in time. You know, I would kind of get pissed off right there because like I don't have a child yet. I'm not a father, of course, yet. But I know you are.
Yeah.
You know.
But I saw you during that scene, and throughout the movie, I you know, you were like, you know, enjoying the movie. Yeah. I think. But during that scene, like, you did not move at all. Like, from that campfire scene got you.
Well, it did because, I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, I'm putting myself into his shoes. You know, if I could be reflected, I was putting myself in his shoes because if I have a daughter that I know is going through hard times already, whether she says it or doesn't, or he says it for that matter or doesn't, you know, if I ever have a son, that would break me to be, you know, like, basically saying, oh, I'm a worthless person in a way, or, you know, I would be sad to have a person like me, and, you know, I'd be pissed.
Because the scene that got her like that was the car scene.
Yeah, with the jerk. And I mean, that boy did play, and you knew what was going on from the get-go. But that is part of the reason I'm not fully on Olivia's side. Because, don't get me wrong, if I was supposed to be friends with this person, this guy, or this girl, and, you know, knowing high school boys is different than knowing middle school boys. But, I mean, if I knew this boy, and I knew he is kind of how he was and all that, I would have made it to where, oh, yeah, let's just take her home real quick. Simple as that. That's all that needed to be done, but she, you know, kind of took the word of basically, I think, 12 or 13-year-old and was like, oh, no, okay, well, fine. But, I mean, that's the thing, you know, it would have been directly her home, first off, no matter what, you know, because she does, you know, she doesn't have the strength that Olivia does to say no and to 100% mean it to, you know, to where, you know, Kayla was basically kind of taken in a way as a joke by that boy, and you know, things went weird. And honestly, I mean, he did do a slightly mature thing, as in truly taking her home, but he should have been very apologetic on that ride. You know,
he pretty much made it seem like he was trying to do her a favor, and she just ruined it.
Yeah, which jerk in a half.
Which made it, you know, to get to the fire scene that we were talking about. But overall, man, you know, as you said, as I was saying to everybody else, this is your first time watch for this movie.
Yeah.
Did you have like if you had to pick a favorite character? Normally we do favorite scenes, and we'll get the favorite scenes.
Yeah.
But who did you have as a favorite character?
Honestly, the father.
The dad?
Yeah, just because, you could see... Because, honestly, it's so weird, because as a kid, you don't understand the parent's situation or the parent's, thought process. And like I said, I'm not a father yet, but the thing is I understand his thought process, because I'm putting myself in, the shoes and seeing this girl go through all this, and...
It's a lot, even though you're not a father, or like a lot of people out there who probably haven't seen this movie, or that have seen this, that aren't fathers out there, the movie makes you and puts you in that situation because he tells such a great story with Elsie Fisher, and she does such a great job that I think it automatically puts the viewer in the father's shoes.
Which, it's not like he has a bunch of time in the movie
right,
either.
He's not in the movie a lot.
10, 15 minutes total, I think.
Give or take, yeah.
Somewhere around there. But, but you understand, he puts enough into what he has with Bo Burnham's direction and writing, and then his acting and actually bringing character to life, and with his facial expressions, motions, movements, and everything like that, that it makes you feel for him, because he's just trying to connect with his daughter, because he knows teenagehood's a traumatizing thing and a life cultivating thing, for that matter, because sometimes,
and not to mention he's doing it all by himself.
That too, because life kind of is created in that little time zone of where you're a teenager. You either make or break your confidence, because you could be unconfident for the rest of your life, or even a shred of confidence, or you could be the most confident, self-egotistical person in humanity. But
he would probably have. I was going to actually agree with you and say he would probably have to be my favorite.
So she does
characters well. Yeah, she's amazing.
Elsie Fisher, don't get me wrong, I can't wait to see what she does in 10, 15 years, if she does keep with the acting, for that matter. Because if she brings out this type, yes, maybe it was the writing of Bo Burnham and the directing of the guy, maybe, but that's 60%. The rest has to be brought 45%.
I don't even, honestly, when it comes to acting, I don't even think that's 60%. I think it's a mutual 50-50.
50-50, okay.
Like, and depending on how good of an actress you are, like this movie, he could, with how brilliant this movie is, I still think she had to deliver more than 50%, or else it doesn't work out.
That's very true, because don't get me wrong, like you said, you were telling
me all the mannerisms was her.
Yeah, kind of an improv thing, because those shoulders just slumped and all that really is a confidence telltale sign.
Right.
And some
always
people pick up
walking
on
with their
that.
head down.
Yeah, and some people even credit that to abuse, whether verbal, physical, or otherwise. But it didn't seem like the dad, man, seemed like he kept his cool through almost any situation, literally any situation. But getting back to the fire scene, that would have broken me, and luckily, he got through to her and actually was able to have her understand what he was feeling and trying, and that, no, you're not a disappointment. It doesn't make me sad. There are sad moments because I can't protect you. I can't be there all the time. And I can't guide you 100%. I can only teach you. But at the end of the day, you make me proud to be your father under everything.
But I am glad that, this movie had a very nice, happy ending at the end, where she got to graduate 8th grade, and she, finally has her sit-down lunch with Gabe, with the nuggets and the fries and all the sauce that he got, and they ended up having a lot in common with Rick and Morty,
little shows.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, him putting that in there, I think that's another sign of just brilliant writing.
Which, don't get me wrong, that was such a dorky,
but it gives
thing.
You.
But he tried. Yeah. He was trying. Like, that's probably the best he could do at the time.
But it gives you a sense of not only a good sense of humor to end the movie, but it gives you a good sense of
that she's gonna be cool.
Okay.
Yeah. She's gonna
be okay.
Because with a father like that, come on, with a father like that.
Because this movie, honestly, you didn't know and you haven't seen it, so this movie could have thrown you for a loop, and he could have been really dark.
Very well.
And he could have shown you that, hey, there could have been some suicide thoughts. There could have been some.
Yeah.
There could have been somebody got, just anything.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that at the end of the day, he told you in a story that she's going to be okay.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, that's a great thing. And I mean, like I said, I would love to see, 12th grade, a sequel, or something, a sequel to 8th grade. I would love to see that. That would be cool in 2 years, because she would be about the right age and, easy.
Right.
But I mean,
So man, now talking like, what would you say maybe your favorite scene was throughout the movie?
definitely the fire pit scene
Fire
in the
pit scene.
backyard. That 100% hands down was, I think, the defining
It was a very
5 minutes
very
of this
powerful
movie.
scene.
Yeah, it's kind of like that scene in Fences, a different aspect and a different dialogue, but definitely like that scene because it reaches deep and pulls something.
It touches you,
And it makes you wonder what the hell has happened with Bo Burnham in his life that he knows or understands. Because that doesn't just come from someone observing. That comes from someone who understands and knows what that feels like. So, I mean, don't know, but, that just makes me question, like, what have you gone through, man? What's happened in your life?
I think I'm gonna have to agree with you as far as favorite scene. If I had to pick one more just to be different, it would be the whole birthday party scene. Because it shows you how awkward she was and how scared she was,
Because
and then
the character's defining.
right, and then she gets in the pool and things maybe seem to be a little bit better. Then she just, confidence is key, and she does the karaoke. So
Yeah.
I would have to say that those two are probably my favorite scenes in this film.
But yeah, like you said earlier, I love how the YouTube videos that she was doing was kind of illustrating how she would go about, because I think at the end of the day, those were more, no matter if she had 5 viewers, I mean, kind of like us. If we only have 5 viewers, we're talking to all 5 of you, or as we have a little over,
or like in her YouTube videos, she might have had 15, 20, 30, 60, 100, but she was talking like if she had 5,000.
Right,
And at the end of the day, confidence is key. You have to do that.
Yeah. But I mean, going with that, is kind of a cool metaphor, or not really metaphor, but a parallel.
Metaphor. Like this movie is meta.
Well, I mean, it's a parallel because every single time they play the video or play the audio background, they're telling the story of that specific moment or that scene. And I think a lot of the videos were more for her than they were for anybody else, just because she was using that to help her out through daily life and even push herself. Because when, she talked about going outside your box or pushing yourself into different confidence levels, that's exactly what she did at that moment, when it was played at least. So I've got to give it to, the direction ability, for that matter, of editing and direction, and just all around a great performance from every actor, actress, for that matter. And just taking it to a realism fact, because I mean, this could have been a fucking documentary. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it was kind of cool to see how he wasn't afraid to use a slightly grainy camera.
Oh yeah.
For the YouTube videos. It was awesome to see that, because I felt like it was something out of like 05, 04 or something like that from a MySpace day. But
so going, with this being a first time view, is this something that you would check out again?
Definitely.
Yeah. What would you rate it as far as star goes?
8.5. 8.5, definitely. Just, I even felt it was kind of cool she got her to say her piece with Kennedy at the end of it, in their graduation line, because when she walked away, you felt like she was chasing after the one guy, the crush she had, but it turns out she gone and just abruptly stopped and didn't let her have it, but it spoke her piece, about things.
To me, this movie is so powerful, and it reached out and bit me in the ass, and I did not know what I was expecting when I first watched it. With the performances and the great directorial debut from a comedian that I knew nothing about then, but now he has turned into one of those directors that I'm like excited to see what he does next. And the performances by both, the actor who played the dad, Josh Hamilton, and then Elsie Fisher completely blew me away with this role.
Yeah.
I was completely disappointed that she didn't get any kind of, not even mentions or recognitions at the Oscars. I give this movie a 10 out of 10. It's in my top 5 of 2018.
Definitely.
I would definitely go and check this out. I highly, highly recommend this movie.
Double that.
Yeah, and you can find it fairly cheap. It's like $7.99 or $9.99 at Best Buy. IMDb gave it an 8 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, it's sitting at a 99%.
Damn.
The Metascore is at 89%. It's available on Vudu, Amazon Prime. You can rent it for $2.99. Google Play and YouTube is $3.99. I really can't put this movie over high enough.
Yeah, I agree.
I really, really enjoyed it. And it's one of those movies, again, almost every week I'm watching something from A24. So, yeah, it's put out from A24, directed by and written by Bo Burnham. I'm glad you liked it. This is one of those movies that I, kept saying we're going to try to watch. We're going to try to do and try to do. And almost a year later, it's done.
Here. But I mean, yeah, definitely. I've been following this guy for at least 4 or 5 years now. Bo Burnham with his comedy. Actually, probably 6 years, I think, since like 2013.
One of his first roles too was in 2008 or 2009. He was in the Yo Teach episode from Funny People with Adam Sandler.
Yeah, which I thought that was funny. I didn't know he spanned back that far, but I mean that's even like Cole and Dylan Sprouse, way back with Big Daddy, and now they're known for Sweet Life of Zach and Cody and some other different things now. But yeah, no, and this guy is a brilliant comedian. He's a little offensive. He's derogatory, but he's definitely, if you're okay with that kind of comedy, he's definitely one to check out, and he's brilliant. I mean, honestly, he really is. The wordplay and then the music, and he's obviously talented with all types of instruments, from guitar to piano to more, for that matter. So it's kind of a cool thing just to hear someone like that have even more creative genius when it comes to even a movie. So I like you said, I can't wait to go ahead and actually see what this guy is coming up with years down the road, whether it be comedy specials, whether it be a comedy movie, which I'd love to see from the guy.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, it seems like some of these comedy geniuses, Jordan Peele, Bo Burnham here, and then even John Krasinski with, his comedic role in The Office for like 8-9 years. It's cool to see the different sides of them, whether it be horror with John Krasinski, horror/drama with Jordan Peele, or a dramatic role with Bo Burnham, at the helm.
So Ed, what do you, as we're getting ready to wrap up today's episode, what are you looking forward to over the next? Unfortunately, you won't be able to join us for next week's episode for Good Time, which is another A24 movie that I've been trying to do on this episode for over a year now with Robert Pattinson. But man, the next time we will be able to talk with you, Ed, will be Return of the Jedi, Monday, September the 2nd. That great Labor Day episode will be all about Return of the Jedi, and we'll be able to get ready for horror season.
Yes.
Because over the next few weeks, we have next week, August 26th, is going to be Good Time. Monday, September the 2nd, will be Return of the Jedi. And then Monday, September the 9th, is going to be the 1-year anniversary episode, It Chapter 2. And then September the 16th, we're not done. We're not taking any breaks. September the 16th is Hereditary. September the 23rd is The Exorcist. And then September the 30th is Silence of the Lambs.
I'm looking forward to the horror season. I can't wait for that to kind of go back to the roots, because I know we burned ourselves a little bit out on it back then, but I can't wait to get back to it. I can't wait for another Star Wars. I can't wait for the next Star Wars.
And then
It Chapter 2 is my big thing right now.
Actually, last year, the entire month of October was dedicated to slasher movies.
Yep.
So this year, I'm going to do the same thing. This year, October, is going to be nothing but slasher movies. We're going to have 4 slasher movies we're going to cover in October, and, that'll end horror season, and then we'll kick off November with, I think we're going to do Star Wars, The Force Awakens, to kick into high gear for, Rise of Skywalker. But, Ed, where can they find you at the internet?
Pretty easy. My Facebook is facebook.com/ejias. That is EJIAS, and that is w.w.b. And that is my Facebook, my personal one at least. As well as if you want to email me, silverscreen84, so 84, and that is at yahoo.com. I'll take any emails, critical, criticizing, critiquing, positivity, negativity. It's whatever. It's a free world out there.
Yeah,
so
definitely email him, and we'll get Zach to give us an email next week, because you guys are overloading the emails with movies you want us to cover, with ideas. So I appreciate it, and you can keep emailing at CINEMEN cinnamon921@gmail.com. And then you guys are always more than welcome to leave a voicemail on the show, and it'll be played on the mic on the show. Ask us about any movie. Ask us about Jaws. Ask us about Iron Giant, Batman Returns, anything that is back in the archives at Podbean and Spotify and YouTube. Ask us about 405-590-5711. And then you can reach us on the Instagram as well, Cine-Men Movie Podcast, one word. And then the Facebook page, facebook.com/Cine-Men Movie Reels 405. But you know, the easiest way is to just Facebook search us now.
Yeah.
Cine-Men Movie Podcast. But Ed, you got anything else for us?
At the moment, no, sir. So this is Edward signing out.
So Ed, we will see you in 2 weeks
sir.
for the Return of the Jedi episode. And then next week, guys, don't forget, is the It Chapter 2 giveaway next Monday, right before we do the Good Time episode, a Robert Pattinson film put out by A24. Check it out, as that's what we're going to talk about next week right here. Thank you for joining me. I am Juan, and I will talk to you next week on the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. And because Elsie Fisher said so, Gucci.